When Jungkook, a global sensation and member of the world-renowned K-pop group BTS, steps into the spotlight, it's usually for his electrifying performances or heartwarming interactions with fans. But last night, the 27-year-old megastar took the world by storm with a candid public statement that left fans, critics, and even South Korea's military establishment reeling. Was it a moment of vulnerability or a call for accountability? "I've stayed silent long enough," Jungkook began, his voice steady yet layered with unmistakable emotion. These were the words that gripped millions watching the live broadcast. What followed was a bombshell revelation about his alleged experience of bullying and harassment during his mandatory military service, a claim that has now set social media ablaze and left military officials scrambling to respond. How could one of the most adored and respected celebrities in the world end up embroiled in such a scandal? What does this mean for South Korea's military culture, long criticized for its rigid hierarchy and, at times, toxic environment? And most importantly, why did Jungkook decide to break his silence now, at the peak of his career? The details Jungkook shared during his live address were as shocking as they were specific. He didn't just hint at being mistreated. He described incidents that painted a grim picture of life behind the closed doors of South Korea's military barracks. "I know what people think," he said, pausing to collect his thoughts. "They think celebrities get special treatment, that we have it easy. But what I experienced, it's something no one should have to endure." Jungkook went on to outline moments of relentless humiliation, where he was allegedly singled out by higher-ranking officers and fellow soldiers. "It wasn't just me," he added, his voice breaking momentarily. "I saw it happening to others. Young men who were too scared to speak up, too afraid of the repercussions." While Jungkook refrained from naming names or providing precise dates, his allegations have cast a harsh spotlight on a system that critics say is overdue for reform. Why do we tolerate this? Jungkook's question sparks a national debate. Perhaps the most powerful moment of the night came when Jungkook turned his focus outward, addressing not just his fans, but the entire nation. Why do we tolerate this? Why do we let our young men, our brothers, our sons, suffer in silence? He asked, his tone a mixture of frustration and sadness. This question has struck a nerve, particularly in a country where mandatory military service is a rite of passage for nearly every young man. Social media erupted with comments ranging from support and admiration for Jungkook's bravery to outrage at the military's apparent inability to protect its recruits. In the hours following Jungkook's statement, reports began to surface that the military was closely reviewing his allegations. While no official response has been issued yet, insiders suggest that the top brass is in crisis mode, attempting to assess the potential damage to the institution's reputation. Meanwhile, skeptics have begun to question Jungkook's timing. Why speak out now, when he's so close to completing his service? Could this be a calculated move to draw attention to larger systemic issues? Or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Jungkook's army, the devoted global fanbase that follows his every move, has rallied behind him in an outpouring of support. Hashtags like #WeStandWithJungkook and #MilitaryReformNow began trending within minutes of his live broadcast. "I can't believe he's been carrying this pain all this time," one fan wrote on Twitter. "He's so brave to speak out, knowing the backlash he might face." Others, however, have expressed a mix of anger and disbelief, directing their frustration at the military system. If this can happen to Jungkook, someone with so much influence, imagine what's happening to recruits who don't have a platform to speak out. One user commented, "Jungkook's revelations have reopened old wounds for a nation that has seen its fair share of military-related scandals." From high-profile suicides to accusations of abuse, the South Korean military has long been criticized for its harsh and, at times, inhumane practices. Experts say that Jungkook's statement could serve as a catalyst for long overdue change. "When someone of his stature speaks out, it forces people to pay attention," said Dr. Kim Jae-hyun, a sociologist specializing in military culture. This could be a watershed moment, not just for the military but for South Korean society as a whole. As the dust begins to settle, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. Will the military launch an investigation into Jungkook's claims? Will other soldiers come forward with their own stories? And how will this affect Jungkook's career and the legacy of BTS? For now, Jungkook seems determined to use his platform to spark change. "This isn't just about me," he said, his voice resolute. "It's about all of us. We deserve better." A nation divided. Supporters and critics clash over Jungkook's revelations. The fallout from Jungkook's shocking statement has created a visible divide within South Korean society. While many have hailed him as a hero for daring to speak up against systemic issues, others have criticized his decision, accusing him of tarnishing the image of the nation's military. Nationalist groups and military supporters have taken to online forums to voice their displeasure. Military service is an obligation for every citizen. If Jungkook is trying to gain sympathy or avoid responsibility, this sets a dangerous precedent, wrote one commenter. Others have accused him of exaggerating his experiences for publicity, though his fans have been quick to shut down these claims. In a surprising twist, several military veterans have come forward to corroborate Jungkook's claims, sharing their own stories of harassment, bullying, and a toxic chain of command. "He's telling the truth. What he described happens more often than anyone wants to admit," said a former soldier who completed his service 2 years ago. "It's time for change, and maybe Jungkook's bravery is what we needed to finally confront this." Late last night, the Ministry of National Defense issued a statement addressing Jungkook's allegations. In it, the military acknowledged his claims and promised to thoroughly investigate the matter, adding that they take such accusations very seriously. However, critics were quick to point out the vagueness of the statement, which failed to directly address whether systemic reforms would be implemented. "It's a classic case of damage control," said Lee Sun-mi, a human rights advocate. "They're trying to appear concerned without actually committing to meaningful change." Adding fuel to the fire, anonymous sources within the military have alleged that pressure is being placed on Jungkook to retract or soften his statement. The institution is worried about its image. "They're not happy that one of the most famous people in the world is shining a light on their flaws," said the source. Jungkook's emotional revelation has also reignited discussions about the mental health toll of South Korea's mandatory military service. Experts have long warned that the high-pressure environment, combined with the rigid hierarchy and culture of silence, can lead to severe psychological distress for recruits. Dr. Han Min-ju, a clinical psychologist specializing in trauma, explained that Jungkook's case is likely not an isolated incident. "We've seen this pattern over and over again. Recruits are subjected to intense scrutiny, bullying, and even physical abuse, yet they feel powerless to speak out," she said. What Jungkook has done is groundbreaking, but it also highlights how dire the situation truly is. Mental health advocates have seized this moment to push for comprehensive reforms, including better support systems for recruits and stricter enforcement of anti-bullying policies. Unsurprisingly, Jungkook's revelations have attracted global media attention, with major outlets like the New York Times, BBC, and CNN picking up the story. Headlines like "K-pop star takes on military" and "Jungkook's fight against abuse" have dominated international news cycles, further amplifying the pressure on South Korean authorities to act. International fans, many of whom are unfamiliar with South Korea's conscription laws, have expressed shock and dismay. "I had no idea mandatory service could be so harsh," wrote one fan from the United States. "I hope Jungkook's story helps protect others in the future." Several international human rights organizations have also weighed in, with Amnesty International releasing a statement calling for a thorough investigation into Jungkook's claims and a broader review of South Korea's military policies. As Jungkook continues to dominate headlines, fans have begun speculating about how the rest of BTS might respond. While none of the other members have made public statements yet, their social media activity suggests quiet support for their youngest member. Notably, RM, the group's leader, posted a cryptic message on Instagram shortly after Jungkook's broadcast, saying, "The truth will always find its way." Fans have interpreted this as a subtle show of solidarity. Other members, such as Jimin and J-Hope, have liked posts related to the hashtag #WeStandWithJungkook hashtag, further fueling speculation about their stance. Given BTS's history of speaking out on social issues, many believe it's only a matter of time before the group releases a unified statement. As the days go on, the question remains, will Jungkook's brave revelation lead to tangible change, or will it fade into another forgotten scandal? Activists and fans alike are urging the government to seize this moment to implement long overdue reforms. Jungkook.